The much-awaited compressed natural gas (CNG) buses aimed at cushioning the effects of the removal of fuel subsidy on Nigerians has been officially inaugurated. Recall that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the established the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative (PCNGI) at the wake of organized labor's agitation against the removal of fuel subsidy. It was also in furtherance of the administration's commitment to reducing energy costs in the country. The transformative initiative, experts say, is poised towards revolutionizing the transportation sector of the economy. When fully operational, it is expected that more than 11,500 new CNG-enabled vehicles and 55,000 CNG conversion kits for existing PMS-dependent vehicles will also be enabled, while simultaneously bolstering in-country manufacturing, local assembly, and expansive job creation in line with the presidential directive. How can government improve on these robust plans and also sustain it? This is our focus on the program tonight. I am Eucharia Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Now, joining me in the studio to discuss the pilot phase of the compressed natural gas CNG buses is Mustafa Abubakar Gajibu, a young and energetic Nigerian, the first Nigerian and African to manufacture electric vehicles, and was part of the technical committee set up by the NADDC, which is the Nigeria Automotive Design and Development Council. Document in Nigeria. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And also with us is Dr. Sanusi Ohiari. He's an energy expert, a fund manager, and also an academic. Welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Doc. Just give us your impression about the whole CNG buses thing, the launch, and what do you think about it?
Well, I see it as a welcome development. For me, it's an opportunity to open a new economic vista for Nigerians, especially young Nigerians, because usually they are the ones that are quick to embrace new technologies, such as this, and also take the risk, to go in there and just basically see what's in there for them. I speak, based on my experience while I was in government, because when we just started then, introducing solar mini-grids and solar technologies, there was a lot of skepticism, but the young ones were able to embrace it. And CNG bus, well, we may see it now as, it's agitation arising from what Labour did, and it will help cushion the effect of subsidies in the short term. But ideally, it's also helping us to create jobs, improve our economy, generate revenue, and also in the long term, it helps us, to meet with our climate change obligations. We have chosen gas as our transition fuel, and we're looking at net zero, in 2060. So it also has that long-term, objective, for the government. So by and large, it's a welcome development, and kudos to the, government, for developing and establishing this.
So Abubakar, I also see that you were part of the technical committee set up by the NADDC to come up with the electric vehicle policy document in Nigeria, of course, in addition to the fact that you're the first Nigerian and the first African to manufacture electric vehicles. So how do you see this whole CNG buses, thing, and what is your role in all of this?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. Our company, African Motor Works, which is mainly into design and development of electric vehicles, it's a company driven by innovation and technology. We always study the problems that is within us and provide solutions to this problem. So looking at gas as another alternative, just like the doctor said now, which is aimed at reducing carbon emission, and as well also as a source of energy that can reduce the high cost of mobility in the whole country. So our company also went long ago into research and development into how we could convert vehicles to work on gas systems. So as I'm speaking to you now, we are one of the first indigenous company to start conversion of vehicles, starting from the grassroots, that's tricycles, motorbikes, to 4-cylinder vehicles, 6-cylinder vehicles, to all operate on gas.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, Doc, tell us, what are the benefits of the CNG buses?
For one, it's cheaper when you compare the fuel source with petrol or diesel. So definitely it makes transportation cheaper. If you also look at it from the economic angle, it's a new, area that would allow more investments to come in. You need to invest in buying the buses. You need to invest in maintaining the buses. You need to invest in the infrastructure that goes with, using these buses. For instance, you need to have auto gas filling stations. You need to invest in the kits, for instance. And like Mustafa has said, they have been researching on this, and they are looking at, investing. They've started investing already. So that is the investment that I'm talking of. So we also have a lot of foreign people that would come in to partner with them, bring in, foreign currency, which will also help us with some of the challenges we're having with Forex. So for me, the opportunities are enormous, but as an energy person, a renewable energy person, I see it from the benefit that it has long term, in terms of reducing the greenhouse gases emissions, because as you know, the transportation sector is about the largest emitter, of greenhouse gases. So I'm quite excited about it, and I just hope that we'll take precaution, in some of the pitfalls that comes with new technologies like this. We should not just be in the euphoria of something new is coming without covering all the gaps and loopholes. There are concerns about safety. It needs to be looked into. There are also concerns about sustainability and maintenance, because as you know, Nigerians, not all Nigerians, but when it comes to, if it's a public thing, there is this attitude of not, caring or actually not maintaining, government infrastructure. So government needs to look for a way to partner with, private sector, so that that maintenance aspect is, adequately taken care of.
Okay, so Abubakar, the federal government talked about creation of about 50,000 jobs. Now I was wondering, how can this be? How possible is this?
Yeah, that's very possible. Just like Doctor said, this is a new opportunity. This is a new sector. Most especially, gas is not new, but when you come to gas mobility, is a new sector where the value chain is high. Value chain is very big, starting from conversion of these vehicles, also creating availability and accessibility of this gas, and also even going into manufacturing of these gas systems, and as well maintaining of these gas systems. Yeah. So the value chain is big, and the job that will be created, and the economy, the value that it will add to the economy is enormous.
Okay, still on you, Abubakar. Now you talked about the conversion, so I'm interested. What beyond just cars, are there other, things like we have the trains, the ships? Can they use these CNG?
Yeah, CNG.
And even our airplanes, I was wondering.
CNG is just one form of gas. The natural gas has so many forms. CNG is just the natural gas compressed to about 200 bars. That's just CNG, and that's what makes it to become the cheapest form of gas. But in addition to that, it has its own advantages and as well disadvantages as well. CNG, yes, is the cheapest form of gas, but depends on the location where the gas is being produced. transporting CNG across long distance will make it no more affordable again. If you could imagine transporting CNG from, let's say, Delta down to Maiduguri, when you do the cost analysis, you end up seeing that CNG is no more affordable in some such locations. So that's why, with all the effort the government has put in the gas transition, I am also, from the technical point of view, I will be advising that only adopting CNG as a gas transition, only adopting CNG as a form of gas for the whole gas transition is not very feasible. Government needs to look into developing more on the gas transition, and also looking at other forms of gas, because Nigeria is large. Moving gas from CNG from one location to another end point of the country might not be very feasible. So looking into other form of gases like the LPG, propane, autogas, and others, to see how the whole transition plan for the gas is well organized and as well also staged. What I mean by staging is like there are, if you look at some transition plans in other countries like Italy, which is one of the biggest consumer of gas when it comes to mobility, there were stages in the transition. So which I urge that this plan should be looked into and see how possible we can stage it so that every part of this country can benefit equally from the natural gas we have in abundance.
So having said that, now you talked about the LNG. Can it also be used for these for this purpose? Because I was wondering, you talked because we're talking about the CNG gas. I know there's LNG, and he also mentioned, I think, butane.
Yeah,
right.
propane, butane.
Yeah. All of these energy sources, when converted in the right form, could be used. It's an energy source. You could use it for electricity, you could use it for transportation, and all of those. And I think my advice would be for Nigeria to take advantage of what God has given us, especially in the energy sector, all the energy sources that we have, just the way we have done it in the power sector, where we are using not just diesel to power houses, but we are using gas, we are using hydro, we are using solar, wind, and all of that. So at the end of the day, we have a robust plan in terms of sources that we're using. So we have focused largely on petrol and diesel, about petrol to a large extent over the last decades in the transportation sector. Because of what has happened with subsidy, we are now paying more attention to gas. But this is something that has always been there. Nigeria is more of even a gas nation with our 200 trillion cubic feet of gas, natural gas available. So it's only, it's only, it's just a matter of logic, for us to move towards gas. So, so my advice is take advantage of all of the opportunities that we have, in terms of the natural resources that we have, to propel the economy.
Thank you very much. This is still Nigeria Today. Let's take a short break now and listen to the opinions from the street as put together by Thomas Ogbetere. Don't go away.
Of course, it's going to be cheaper. Why? Because gas is cheaper than petrol. And meanwhile, you see that the safety condition of the two situations is gas, the gas and petrol. They're all explosive. So if you think of maybe gas, or think of explosion in the case of gas, petrol is explosive. And also the system, the mechanical system for the buses, whether petrol or gas, is still the same.
Yeah, it is a welcome development. It will ease the pain of transportation that the populace are having, because at least CNG, you know that the prices of the gas will not be more than 150 per liter, so you know that the price will be lower. And I just pray that they bring it so that it can cover everywhere and everybody will have opportunity to let it ease it. The palliative is not working, so the CNG will be better.
The introduction of El-Rufai, improved the transport aspect of the city of Abuja. And everything government is doing, if it's not jeopardized, because it's a good idea, bringing in such buses, whether it comes in terms of whatever you call it. But the thing is that the management, will it be managed properly? Will it be used for what is actually meant for?
Yeah, to some extent it's safe and it's a welcome development, but it will at least lead to the rise in the cost of gas. Cooking gas now, if you see every day, sometimes it will step down and sometimes it will go up. Now with the introduction of the CNG's buses now, because they are also going to use the same gas that everybody is using. So the price of gas will definitely rise.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today. We are looking at the launch of the CNG buses by the federal government. And I have my guests here in the studio, two gentlemen. Now, Abubakar, you had the reaction of people there, their concerns there. And talking about the gas, is it the same as the cooking gas that we're using? Because people have really, they're expressing fears that the price will, shoot up when this comes into full force, the usage of the CNG buses.
Yeah, just as I said earlier, there are so many forms of gas, although all gases are being driven out from the natural gas, but there are so many forms of gases. So most of the cooking gas we use is more of a combination of butane and propane. The formula in Nigeria is about 95 to 98% butane and 2 to 5% propane. So that's the formula for cooking gas. That's the standard formula for cooking gas. Due to its low burning rate, it's regarded as the household gas. So, but for compressed natural gas, is the gas just driven out from the oil wells, then purified and then compressed to certain bars. That's about 200 bars pressure. So that's why it's been tapped as the CNG, compressed natural gas.
So it's not the same as our normal
no,
cooking
it's not
gas.
the same.
Okay.
But although they are all driven from the same source, there is every possibility of, yes, when you are taking out from one source to produce the butane for the cooking and also compress it for the mobility, definitely there will be a bit high demand when it comes to mobility.
Which means their fears is justified.
Yes, to a certain level. But just like Doctor has said initially, we have abundance of gas. So many companies, gas producing companies, have been flaring gas due to lack of utilization of that abundant gas. So I think, yes, maybe at the initial stage, there will be surge in prices because of the demand from the mobility sector. But with the abundant availability of the gas we have, I think that cannot affect the price in long term.
Okay, now, Dr. Sanusi, the government has also talked about waiving VATs for CNG. So how impactful will this be for the users?
Of course, if implemented properly, is impactful because it will lead to reduction in the cost of gas. But then the government had waived VAT for diesel as well, right? I don't know if we've done a study to see if this has reduced, diesel price, from the time, I think, was it a few weeks ago that the president waived that for diesel. So it's important for the government to look into it. Yes, the VAT has been waived. Why is the price of diesel still the same? I don't know if it has gone down in your area, but I think it's still the same. So if the president gives directives or gives incentives such as this, I think the onus is on those that are in charge of such sectors or agencies to monitor and ensure that these directives, achieve the desired result. Because the president obviously did that because he understands, how the effect it's having on the people, and he wants to cushion some of these effects. So it's not enough to just make these pronouncements. It's also important for those that are in charge to follow through and ensure that it's being implemented, so that the ordinary man on the street, can benefit.
Okay, so another thing I want to find out. I know a guest on this program once said that you can use the CNG bus, the CNG kind of engine, or am I right when I say engine, alongside the petrol, engine, right?
Yeah.
You can, a vehicle can have. What about the diesel? Is it possible to have a CNG, use CNG and diesel at the same time?
Okay, yes, almost all these gas systems are sequential gas systems. The system installed on the vehicles to operate on gas are sequential. So you can easily just click a button to switch from the existing fuel system you have, either the gas or either the diesel or the petrol system, to switch and operate on gas. So engines are all combustion engines. So all they need is a fuel that can come into the combustion chamber, burn and create the locomotive motion. So whatever form of fuel that comes into the combustion chamber at a given rate, design rate, it will definitely drive the engine.
Still on you, Abubakar. I'm not letting you go so soon. How much of it, talking about the CNG, does a car need, to operate, say, for a day?
Okay, I think that would depend on the kind of usage. For based on our feasibility study, for example, a 15 kg tank of cylinder for CNG can cover up to a distance of 200, in some cases 300 kilometers, depending on the kind of engine. Vehicles differs from engine. Some are having 4 cylinders, some 6 cylinders, some are even having 8 cylinders. So that will differ based on the size of the engine. But when it comes to the cost-benefit analysis, yes, using CNG is extra low. Let me say, from the layman's understanding, running on petrol today per kilometer, you are spending around 74 naira. So when you cover 1 kilometer using petrol, you'll be spending about 74 naira on average. So but with CNG, you'll be spending around 23 naira. So you are saving about around 51 naira per every kilometer you cover.
Wow,
yeah.
That's good to know. Now, Dr. Sanusi, now tell us, what are some of the, I know you mentioned some of them earlier when you were talking, what are some of the challenges that you foresee that you think should be addressed now to, avoid, subsequent issues in the future, if we are to achieve our aim of, reducing cost, transportation costs?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, the maintenance aspect of it, that's if it's going to be driven by government. Like some of these pilots now that, the government is getting for civil servants, some of the buses for civil servants, obviously those will be run by, government agencies. From the experience that we had with El-Rufai buses, that these buses were not properly maintained, and within 1 year you see some are accidented. You see how they even drive on the roads. You see that when you go to their yard, you see that they are packed hundreds of buses there that can't move. The issue of parts, how do you get some of these parts? Make sure. So basically, looking at the economic angle of it, we need to ensure that we are not just investing in the buses. We're also getting people to invest in, for instance, more gas, because obviously the demand for gas would, increase. We're looking at people to invest in parts, and it's now left for government to communicate this, to the people and enlighten them and let them know that all of these opportunities are available.
Okay. Thank you very much. And that's it on today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to Mustafa Abubakar Gajibo, the first Nigerian and African to manufacture electric vehicles. Thank you so much for coming to the program.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Sanusi Ohere, an energy expert, fund manager, and also an academic. Thank you so much for coming to the program. And thank you for being part of the program. Remember, Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTU News 24. You can watch this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTU News 24 Hub. I'm Eukaria Clinton. Have a lovely weekend.